Hey everybody, it's WB again. This evening I got the pleasure of sharing a little bit of information with you about one of my favorite rifles in my collection. This is a Yugoslavian AK-47. It's the M70 series AB2. This one has a reinforced receiver, and I just like to go over some of the details about this rifle with you. I purchased this from Classic Firearms. I got it a little bit on the tail end of all the hysteria that was going on the earlier part of this year with the legislation that was coming down the pike. And I paid $8.99 for this gun. At the time, it did not come with a shooter's package or anything. It had one steel magazine. It did actually come with the adapter for the grenade launcher, which is an interesting bit of trivia, but not anything that I'm likely to be using anytime soon. So again, just like to share some of the features of this rifle with you, and in doing so I will start from the front of the gun and kind of work towards the back. Now I do want to point out that Classic Firearms does have this gun on sale. Presently I believe it's $7.99 with the shooter's package. The shooter's package includes a carrying case, which I believe is a Bulldog carrying case, as well as the steel magazine, in addition to 3 Polymer Tapco magazines. Some of the reasons that I like this gun, I'll also try to hit some of the drawbacks that you might want to consider if you're thinking about purchasing an AK-47 variant, if you're considering this as one of your options. So moving from the front to the rear, you'll notice, I don't know if it really shows up on film, but it does have a very heavy barrel. I'm comparing it to my Sega 762 AK, as well as many of the other variants that I've seen. It's just got a nice thick barrel on it. You'll notice it does have the slanted muzzle brake. This is held on by a detent. It will actually screw right off, but it does do a good job in limiting the muzzle rise when you're shooting. And as we move back, you see the cleaning rod right here. You'll notice that it has this model actually has a flip-up grenade sight, which again, not something I'm likely to be using, but an interesting bit of nostalgia. It may be part of the reason that the rifle is built so solidly and reinforced is because it has the capability and the double duty of launching grenades in addition to shooting 7.62. One note about the sights, it does have the typical AK sights with your front and your rear sight, but this model also has a flip-up night sight version. I noticed, I actually found this out today, has it on the rear sights as well. Now these actually used to have tritium in there, so they would glow and light up in the dark. They because of importation, they were not allowed to ship it that way, but it does still have the flip-up sights on there, so another, I guess, bit of trivia. You'll notice this one does have the black polymer handguard. So again, as we're moving towards the back of the gun, you'll notice these ridges here on this side as well as the other. And those are the ridges that actually help give the receiver the additional support. Kind of a trade-off, as I mentioned, some of the cons as well. As a trade-off, this gun is fairly heavy. It probably weighs in at over 8 pounds, completely naked, and relatively heavy for an AK. And I will point out that this rifle is fully functional in its folded configuration. Some of them have issues if it's a side folder, just depending on what type of folding mechanism you have. A lot of them have issues either accessing the trigger or utilizing the safety. The way this is configured is fully functional to shoot in a folded capacity. It's actually relatively accurate. Now I will point out that the barrel is not chrome lined. Usually not a huge issue. The barrel will stay more rigid when heated up. It will supposedly fire more accurately when it's had a couple hundred rounds through it, because it's not chrome lined. The trade-off on that is that if you're using any kind of corrosive ammunition, that's something you do want to be aware of. The chrome line barrel does help protect it somewhat against the corrosive ammunition. If you're running any kind of corrosive ammunition through this gun, you're probably going to want to clean it very shortly after firing it. As far as the folding function, it works very easily, very ergonomically. On this side, it has a little pin that you push in, folds right open, locks into place very firmly, and very easy to fold back up. Okay, one other consideration I wanted to mention that might be taken into consideration if you're looking at purchasing this rifle. It does not have the typical AK-47 side mount that you'll find. It's because the underfolder does not allow, would not function with that in place. So it does not have what you'll typically see on a lot of the AK-47 variants, the side mount for your detachable scope mount or optic mount system. So that is a potential drawback. It just depends on what you're looking to do with the gun. There are other options. There is the option of replacing the rear mounts and putting a scope mount there. There are the quad rails that are available. You may have limited quad rail space with it in its folded capacity, at least on the side and on the bottom. But there are alternatives to that and options. I consider this to be a very solid contender for anyone who is in a position where they're considering purchasing an AK-47. The prices are just getting to a point where they represent a pretty solid value. They're at, or they're approaching, in many cases, the pre-panic prices. And again, very solidly put together variation of the AK-47 rifle. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up at that. I do think that I would tend towards recommending this one as opposed to many of the other options that are available out there. I really enjoyed taking a look at this gun with you. If you guys have any questions about this particular gun or any comments, anything you'd like to share, video reply, anything, please feel free to post them in the comments section. And we'll catch you on the next video. We'll look forward to seeing you then.